Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Heman in Southeast Missouri, Camp 77, with another message from the wilderness. And this is part of a series. It's part 4 in a series that's on church structure. And when I'm talking about church structure, I'm talking about the structure of the true churches of Christ Yahushua. Not what we see out here today, but how Christ founded the church. And this is with the authority of Christ, our high priest. And we're going straight from the scriptures. And I'm going to pick up right where I left off, which was at 1 Timothy. We were in chapter 5. All right, and I'm talking particularly today to my sisters, right? Those who are the body of Christ, who are chosen to be princesses, and Yah's destiny for you, Yah's plans for you is for you to eventually become a queen. All right, so to the sisters, to the queens today, the queens in training, let's say. Because we all are royalty and we have to carry ourselves like royalty. We were talking about piety and how it is even a widow's duty, or widow being a woman who's bereaved of a husband or a woman who's lacking a husband, that is even the widow's duty to teach her children this, that is respect for authority, respect for royalty. We are all to be a kingdom of priests and priestesses, a royal priesthood, and we don't get there without having some dignity. Okay, so now I was in, I believe, verse 4, but if a widow or a woman who is lacking or bereaved of a husband has children or nephews, let them learn first. And first meaning first and foremost. So this is most important for a child. You would actually be robbing a child of education if this was not to be put first in their life. All right, so this is supposed to be number one, or the chiefest, or the first in order, to show piety at home. Now, notice it's not piety outside or piety out abroad, but piety in the home is towards Yah. So that's the reason why this is the chiefest and most important, is because the home is where Yah is, okay? So to be pious towards one parent is to worship Yah. Yah is the one who said, honor your father and mother. Christ reiterated this when he rebuked the Pharisees for not doing this and called them hypocrites for keeping the traditions of men, when Yah is the one who said that if a child does not honor or respect their parents, that they're worthy to lose their life, and they were not teaching that. Okay, so respect towards one's parents, respect towards royalty, respect towards authority, and support towards authority equals worship to Yah. Now, we know that Yah doesn't expect children to do all the things that he expects grown-ups to do. And what the Most High is telling us is that this is what he considers righteousness for a child. So if you want your child to be righteous, this is what you need to give them. You need to give them to honor their parents, and you need to give them to pay back their parents for all what their parents do to them. And even this is required of women who have no husband, or for single women to do as well. All right, to pay back their parents, because that is what is good and acceptable in front of Yah. In other words, that's a child's righteousness in front of Yah. All right, now continuing in verse 5. Now she that is a widow indeed, because all women who are lacking a husband are not exactly widows, and we're about to see the difference right now. And desolate, she trusts in Yah, or confides in Yah, puts her hopes in Yah, and she continues in requests and prayers night and day. But now here's the difference. She that lives in pleasure, or a woman who is being sexually active while not being married or lacking a husband, is dead while she lives. So sisters, you can't be sexually active in the church. You are either available for marriage, or you're not, and you are continuing to be celibate and to belong to the Lord Yahushua. All right, so that's the option that our sisters have, and there is no in between where you cannot be married, not exactly belong to Christ, and still be sexually active here in the middle. So again, she that lives in pleasure is dead while she lives. And these things give in charge. All right, so we've been told that we're to transmit these as commands and orders. This is to be declared, okay, so that you may be blameless, or without accusation, without blame, or without sin. All right, but if any man doesn't provide for his own, and especially for those of his own household, he has denied the faith meaning not just the belief, but the trust in Yah, and he is worse than a non-believer. Okay, so let's remember that. All right. But again, this is to the sisters, and this to Yah's daughters, and these princesses who are being made and transformed into queens. All right. So I'm gonna focus on what's for the women in these verses today. All right. Now, being told that a widow is not to be do not take in a widow into the number under 60 years old, having been the wife of one man. Okay, so first off, the church is chargeable to the widows. If you are a woman who has no husband, then the church and you're a believer, you're to be taken care of. You're to be supported and provided for by your church or by your congregation. So when we're being told that don't take in a woman who's a widow in verse 9 here, it doesn't mean to not take in any women unless they're a widow who's 60 years old, but it means that a woman shouldn't be considered, in that group which needs to be provided for according to Christ, that is under 60 years old. So the reason for this, we're going to find out down here in verse 11. The younger widows refuse. Again, refuse not meaning to reject out of the churches of Christ, but refuse to accept them as truly widows or widows indeed, because they're still at a young age where they're available for marriage, and a woman needs that experience under her belt as well to have run a household, raised kids, in order to be a good steward, in order to be in order to be a queen, okay, or in order to be a bursar. Okay, so now verse 11, we're being told the younger widows are not to be accepted as truly widows, but the older are. And again, the difference is between true widow and not is sexual activity.